When my mother was taken seriously ill and died, I was the first on the scene. She was barely conscious. And as you know, when you get into casualty, you're on a very high trolley. So, of course, I could hardly see her and I could hardly speak to her. I knew she wasn't going to live. But the staff did not communicate that to me in any way.
I was given a phone call by the respiratory nurse to tell me, by the way, I thought you'd better know, because you're going to get a copy of the letter, you're actually end stage now.
And I'm not knocking the people at the hospital at all, because I can't praise them enough, but I think they're unaware.
Well, I turned around and said, how long before I get my wings?
A week ago, I was told over the telephone that my PSA had suddenly jumped, and I'm on Zoladex. So I know that I'm in what they euphemistically call the advanced stage of prostate cancer. But I was told by somebody who had no understanding of what that meant. Right. They just didn't know what they were telling me.
The way she told me it was so cold, I was on my own. I then had to prepare myself to tell my family, I'm also a carer, I have a son with Asperger's.
At the hospital recently, they said we could go in and feed my mother-in-law, which we were doing. And then they came one evening out of the blue and said, you can't come and do this anymore. Somebody's complained. And it was in front of everybody, and I felt about this big. I felt so silly.
Because the staff on the wards, where the cleaners are consultants, it's their patch, it's their territory, and the people who flow through the wards are only temporarily there. And yet, for each of those patients and their families and their carers, they are the most important person there at the time.
Yeah, and I wished I'd reacted to it, but all I wanted to do was go in a corner and cry.
We ought not to let it happen, but when we're very emotional, when we've been looking after somebody who is dying or has just died, it's not the time we're going to go and take a professional on.
I wish I had approached it at the time, but I didn't, because I was too vulnerable.